Hello everyone, welcome back to the Industry Talks. Today we have one of my dear acting friends, Trinh Ryann. I met her at a Boston casting acting class about a year ago, and we've become great friends. We're in a group chat with a bunch of amazing actors, and that's like our support system. And I had her on. She's been acting professionally for about a year, but before that she did a lot of like dancing and Broadway workshops and singing and theater, and she still does, but now she realized that she also is going to be acting professionally. So here she is. Hey, welcome everyone back to Youth Industry Talks. Today we have someone very special, one of my dear acting friends, Trinh Ryann. Here she is. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, oh my God, I'm so excited. Yes, I'm Trinh Ryann. I'm 14 years old. I'm based out of Boston for the most part. I've been a professional actor for almost a year now, which is crazy. And yeah, Justin was one of the first people I met in the industry and has been definitely like a tour guide and helped me navigate through this crazy, crazy thing. And yeah, so I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So first question, what made you want to become an actor, and then what made you want to do it as a job?
Oh yeah, so I grew up and I dance and I grew up doing musical theater and just singing around the house and all of this stuff and I was doing it, all the way up until, COVID happened and then the pandemic hit and obviously we couldn't do Broadway, we couldn't do live theater or anything, which it just gave me a moment to be like, oh, like what do I want to do now? And I was watching a lot of different shows and a lot of different TV, like movies and, stories that had like touched me and like impacted me. I was like, I want to do that for someone else, which I think is like one of the biggest reasons I want to become an actor is so that I can tell stories and that they can affect other people, which is so cool. And yeah, I then took my first like acting class at Boston Casting, which is where I met you and all of our other amazing friends who I know are probably watching this. So hello. Um, and yeah, it's spiraled into this big thing, which is crazy, which has only been a year, and I've gotten so many opportunities, which is so great and it's crazy. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So with that Boston casting class, that was like one of your like your first acting classes, right?
Yeah, it was my first like on camera like acting class that I'd ever taken, like which was I think in October of 2020.
Oh my God, I remember that. I remember, I think it was like a 3-day class or like a once every week class or something. And I think I went to like one or two of them. I wasn't there for the whole thing.
No, no, you went the week after that I had like stopped taking the class. And then
Right.
and then I yeah, and then our friend Izzy was like, "We just made a new friend, like we're adding him to the group chat and everything." I was like, "Who is this? Like, who is this?" And then
Yes.
of course I had to like stalk you on Instagram and everything. But now we're friends
Yes.
obviously,
Now
so
we're
that's
friends. Now
pretty
it's fine. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
no
right,
good.
right, right. I remember. Okay. Right. Yeah. That literally, yeah, like almost a year ago, like in a month, it'll be like a year.
Hmm.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Um, so you aren't currently represented, correct, by an agent or manager?
No, I am not.
Okay.
And
So my question about that is because it always brings up a different conversation because if you ask any single person that's repped how they got their agent or manager, they're all going to say something completely different. Some people are going to be like, oh my God, it took me like a week. Like, oh my God, this person just said something and then I got it. Or some people are going to be like, oh my God, I looked for 5 years and I still haven't found one. So like, what have been the biggest obstacles or struggles in getting an agent or manager, and like, how have you been going about it trying to like find one?
so I have literally not applied to any agencies or any managers over the past year. I have wanted to, and I've come to like so closely be like, I'm just sending in my resume in real, like, it gets really tempting at some point. But, um, you know, I have braces still, and a lot of agencies, especially the bigger ones, say that that can't happen, and yeah, yeah. But I feel like I'm taking this time to really prep and work on my, material, so that when the time comes, which hopefully, cross your fingers, will be soon, that I'll I work with my coach on like agent prep and stuff just so we're ahead of the game, and that when that comes, it'll hopefully go a little easier maybe because I've put all this work into prepping for it. So that's kind of where it is now.
Yeah. What kind of things have you been like trying to prep for an agent? Is it your reel or resume or headshot or like everything? Like what have you been like trying to like prep so you're ahead of the game when you apply?
Mainly my reel, which I think is the biggest part, to me at least. So we've worked on a bunch of different like scenes, and we're just kind of laying out all of our options right now, so that I'm trying to perfect them as much as possible. So, you know, it'll be we'll have a bunch of different options.
How have you been getting opportunities and auditions and basically anything without your agent manager? Because it's possible, and I want
It
people to
is,
know that it's possible. So how have you been doing it?
yes, I mainly get things through backstage and through just open calls, and I'm on literally like every email list for everything on the East Coast. So, I get a lot of things through there, just random stuff, but I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, a lot of those things, which are weird, is that they're like very rushed calls and everything. I got an audition for like a very big feature film, which I found out about. They sent the sides and then was due like 12 hours later, which was crazy. But I mean, it's good practice for, when I do get an agent and stuff. But it was like, oh my God, this is an open call. But it's like, it was very intense, let me tell you.
Yeah. Um, so when you do get auditions and self, oh, because you've never done an in-person audition, right? Because you started
No, I
over like,
haven't.
right. Okay. So self-tapes then, which is still an audition. Do you have like a quote unquote process? How do you prep for audition? Is it like the same for everything, or do you just kind of go with what you're feeling in the moment?
I feel like it kind of depends on the moment, and it depends on what the material is and what it is. It's just very case by case. But normally I will prep with my coach, Alana Safer, at the prep, which also big thanks to Justin for introducing me to the prep. And I will, normally prep it with her. And I like to film my self tapes during an audition like call because it's a lot easier to keep things fresh in my mind and stuff. So I definitely love doing that. That's definitely a key part of the process. Or I have another coach, Shelly Cole, who's amazing. And I just filmed an audition with her a couple weeks ago. And if not, if it's not something huge that I think I can invest in, like spending money on a lesson new, I turn to my friends. I turn to you guys. I text the group chat and I'm like, hey, who wants to film an audition with me? Which, you know, we do through Zoom and everything. So, there's a bunch of different varieties of auditions prep, for me when it comes to that.
Yeah. And how has it been and that's a big question. How has it been in the industry so far? But like so far in your time in the industry and like working and auditioning and like, meeting people, what have been like the biggest things you've learned that you didn't know before getting into it?
I guess I feel like I knew this, but I feel like really getting into it really like replenished it into my brain that things take time and it's not going to come handed to you right away. Like you have to work and work and work and work for it until you can get, this thing. And, I had booked I just finished filming a short film, and I had to like the audition process. I like sent in my self tapes in May. Then like they had like to go through like 3 rounds of callbacks and then finally get it. And I like was losing hope at the end of it. I was like, oh my God, I haven't heard, like it's never gonna happen. Like, what is this? And then I got it. And it's just like you can't give up, on those sort of things, which sounds cliche because everyone says it, but like you just can't give up and things are going to take time, and keep working and keep that back spark lighting you for those, even the small things.
Now that you brought up the short film, how was that experience being like your first time like on a set, first time booking something, and it only happened within your first year of acting professionally, which is crazy.
Yeah. So I had been on set one other time, and that was because my dad is like a composer and stuff. And it was like this indie film, feature film. And I played like three different background extras like 4 years ago or something, which, so I had like kind of knew what, being on set felt like. But this was like a completely other different experience. And, in this film, it was me, another girl, and then like one older guy, and it was a small crew and everything, and it was a good experience, I think, for like a first time, like um first booking like on my own thing, which was really fun. It was a lot of fun. We shot 3 or 4 days up in Boston, and like a school, and I got to break in through the windows, which at like 10 p.m. at night. So there were a lot of like long days, but it was worth it. I'm so excited to see like what it turns into. So yeah.
Yeah, come on. So that was your second onset experience. I forgot
Yes.
about the film, like when you were like 9 or
Yep.
something, or 10 or something like that. Yeah. And also in auditioning, because I know you've auditioned like quite a bit and you found your own stuff, which is amazing. I'm so glad like you found backstage, because backstage, same for me. Even when you do have an agent, it's good to get like those smaller things to get footage for your reel and things like that. But for the things you don't get, how has it been, dealing with rejection? Like, because even if it's not always like direct rejection, like people don't always have to say the word no. You just never hear
Mhm.
anything and you infer like, okay, I didn't get it. Like how
I
how is it
know.
kind of done with that? Because you're just now getting like, the first like taste of it.
hmm yeah. So it hasn't been that difficult for me, luckily, because I haven't been that far into like getting callbacks and like going through rounds and rounds of auditions for them to like give it to someone else. Like it's always been like one or none. Like I either go through it and get it, or I also had like a table read for a feature film shortly after the short film, which I literally sent in my reel and they booked me immediately. So it's been like it's hard, I feel like, because sometimes I get really attached to the characters and like I imagine myself like playing these like big parts, and it's definitely hard to think about. And it'll probably be like when this stuff actually comes out, I'll be like, that could have been me. Like, come on. But I luckily have not been able to have to witness it firsthand. So we'll just see how that goes. But
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I've definitely seen things and been like, could have been me, but it wasn't. And then you're like
mm-hmm.
small, like crushing of the soul. Yeah. Keeping in like the spirit of youth industry talks, these are like more general, like open-ended questions, if you will. But so far, how has it been being like so young and new to the industry? Because a lot of the times you think of a child actor, you think of like, oh, they're famous, like, oh, child actor, like, oh my god, they made it big at 13. But like then there's the other end of it where it's like, no, we're working to get there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're starting professional as a child, and when we make it, we make it. So how has it been being like young in the industry? And then like a second bigger question off of that, like what do you think our generation as a whole has to offer the industry, whether it be in front of or behind the camera?
That's like a really good question though. Oh goodness. Okay. How has it been to be young? Um, I guess, you know, it's hard definitely to try to like compare yourself to those kids that you see just, who are like did hit it big at 13 or did hit it big like when they were 9, and now they're like continuously doing things, or even just like kids you see on just like the internet. But like I feel I go back to this, but like having you guys and having like friends who are going through the same exact thing is so important, because I am going into this completely blind. Like I have no idea. The Broadway industry versus the film industry is different, but it's got the same backbone, but it's still so completely different. So going into the film industry, you just need your people and you need to like be young. Like being young, you have to rely on those people who are guiding you. And that's why I look to you and I look to our other friends, because I'm like, hey, like I have no idea what this means, like can you explain it? you know, my family doesn't really know a ton about the industry either. So I think as long as you look to your coaches or your friends, I've been pretty lucky with that, like being able to be offered so much advice. So I feel like that's important. And then what our generation has to offer, that's a big one. Um, I think we just offer a lot of realism and like just representation because, currently there's a lot of shows where like 20-year-olds are playing teenagers, which, sometimes can work in a way, but most of the time it's like, that's that's not real. That's no. Um, so I feel like we are supposed to offer like insight and, I think our generation more than any generation has to deal with mental health and like comparison and just like so much. And I feel like when we bring these stories to the screen, we're going to impact so many others' lives, and which is so important. And which is, again, I said this at the beginning, but why I want to be an actor is so that I can impact and influence other people's lives. And I feel like what we as a generation as a whole have gone through, we can really offer that and help the younger ones and help other people and help the older people understand what we're going through. And, I just think that's like representation. So
That's amazing. I agree 100%. As you know,
I don't know. I don't even know if that made any sense, but
that made no, it made perfect sense. um, and then I have like one more last thing, which you can go like as deep or as not as you want to in this. Um, in your time, like working in the TV, film, entertainment industry, uh, have there been any like issues or problems that you've seen that you hope will be fixed by young people or like when we grow up in the industry?
again, really good question. Um, I feel like we just need to fix the representation and the realness of what teenagers go through and what people are actually going through. And I don't even know if this makes sense. Now I'm like double thinking everything. I think we just need to fix like we just need more equality like across the boards as, people and humans as a whole. And I hope that our generation really like brings that through, and hopefully, which I feel like we will, because we're pretty powerful, if I say so myself. Um, but yeah, I don't know, that's kind of it. I feel like just more representation, more real stories, more just voices being heard and stories being told and things being changed just in general. But yeah.
I agree, and I think we're moving in that direction too. At least I hope so. I
Hmm.
mean, other people can speak to it as well, not just me, because everyone has different voices and opinions and backgrounds. But I think we're getting there too, especially like you said, our generation, like we're stubborn. We're gonna keep like pushing. You know what I mean? So, and I think at least the young people I've talked to in the industry, everybody I've met has been kind of on the same page with terms of representation, authenticity, whether it be in the writing room or on screen or behind screen or producers or directors or whatever it may be. So I think we're moving in that direction too. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And also just like I feel like this ties into another question, but like showing that not everyone makes it when they're 13, and that we are all working so hard for like the small roles and for the small things, but then we're getting all this experience, and that when we go busting through Hollywood's doors, we will be so ready. And I think just people need to know there are so many of us working so hard that are not the huge kids, like the Stranger Things kids and everything, which, if you know me, I'm a very big Stranger Things fan. And I love them. But there are kids working so hard, everyone that you've talked to on these that just need more recognition. And I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's great. And my last like thing, any advice or words of wisdom for aspiring actors, actresses?
Yeah. I think the quote that I live by when it comes to acting, and I've said this 1,000 billion times and I will say it more, is that keep on dreaming and dream so big that it makes the small minded people uncomfortable. And I think what that just plays into is that I have huge dreams. I plan on winning an Oscar one day, and all of this stuff, and people are like, think that I'm crazy and think that, you know, it's wild to have those dreams and everything. But if you don't believe in yourself and if you don't set those goals and set those dreams, then if no one does it, then who will? So just keep on going, keep on pushing, keep on dreaming, and then go after and chase those dreams. So that's kind of it.
That's great. Yeah, and like you said this, like, and work for it too. Like no one's gonna hand you anything. Like really work for it and believe in yourself, and have big dreams and go after it. But like make sure you're actively like working towards those goals. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which you are. You basically just said that. I'm basically just like reiterating exactly what you just said.
Mhm.
But yeah. And last thing, any like plug Instagram things to watch, follow anything.
Cheater Cheater is that short film. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know how it's coming out, but it will be at some point, sometime. So be on the lookout for that. And you will see me on your TV screens very soon one day.
Yes, you
So,
will. And I when the Cheater Cheater, that's the name.
yes.
Okay, you're allowed to say that? Okay, great, yay, amazing. Don't worry, when it comes out, I'll promote the heck out of it as well. Support your
Okay.
fellow actors, people. I,
Yes.
I think I say that every interview I say that, but it's true. Support your fellow actors.
Literally.
Yeah,
Without you guys, I would be nowhere. So we need to keep doing that for each other.
yeah.
And yeah.
We all need each other. Us actors stick together and people in the industry. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.
Of course. And yeah, that was my talk with Trinh. It was great to talk to her and have one of our conversations. We talk about these things a lot actually, but it was just cool to like film it and have other people watch it to maybe get advice or know more about what it's like to be up and coming in the industry, really working to get there. She had a lot of great insight. It was just great to talk to her. Stay tuned for more.